Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and this video is a two-part video of trying to fit a £5 nitrous bottle to my ZZR14 drag bike. And the reason why for going for a £5 nitrous bottle, as you probably heard a few times in the video or in the past, is for top speed events. We're doing standard mile top speed events, and there is in some occasions standing a mile and a half top speed events. Yes, I know some people will be saying using nitrous for that length of time, what would it do to your engine? Now, I do have an air fuel ratio meter on the bike that the nitrous controller reads the reading from the air fuel ratio meter, and depending on what I have set it at, it will maintain the air fuel ratio meter ratio, and if it can't maintain it, it will turn the system off. Now, we will be running on the rich side of things because of nitrous oxide is not kind to your engine in prolonged situations. It does pretty much give you instant power, as I have learned with nitrous oxide over the last year or so. This video was quite challenging. I initially, as we go through it, you see I initially made the bracket and then found done some alterations to the bike and the underside of the bike, and then found I needed to do more alterations because of the clearance on the floor with the valve. I do have mine inverted. I could in theory change it back the other way. I'd have to get a longer dip tube and have a different feed to that bottle because all my other bottles are inverted. The reason for that is a professional Wizard of Nos or high-powered systems in the UK, Doncaster, has advised me to go that route for more than one reason. So I have gone that route anyway. So you'll see from the video, I'm going to do it in two parts, this video, because there's a lot of filming and there's going to be photographic footage as we go away along, showing you various different stages. And I will, on the photographs, if I don't say it in the video, I will in the photographs tell you what drill bits are used, what taps are used, and various different things like that, because sometimes I forget. So as I go through the video in the editing stages, I will add them as a text form on the photographs. So if you're not sure about something, wait until you see the photos, and if you're still not sure, ask me and I will give you all the information in the comments. So that's it. I've already done some filming on this, so I will get back to doing what I've been doing, and then I will get this hopefully a success in doing this £5 bottle, because I am trying to get it underneath the bike where the £2.5 bottle goes, partly because I don't want to have a bottle either on one side or the other when I'm doing top speed, give it a bit more drag. So I am looking on trying to fit it there, and that's what this video is attempting to do. Anyway, okay, I'll get on with it and I'll speak to you again shortly. Thank you very much. Good day, well, it's good afternoon now. Good afternoon, everyone. As I mentioned from my last video, I go through is they're looking on trying to fit a 2 kilo, which is 4.4 nitrous bottle, and I want to try and fit it underneath where the 2.5 one goes. Now, there's obviously difficulties with that. The bottle is slightly wider and the bottle is definitely taller. So there's a few problems and issues to try and resolve if I'm going to try and fit it there. Now, I certainly think it's going to work. I've had a look so far, and with a few little alterations which I'll show you, and I'm going to be milling a bracket I'm going to be making for the larger bottle, and I've also had to modify the bracket for the 2.5 one, partly because a bolt head stripped, and because with the vibrations they were coming loose, so they had a little bit of medium thread locking, but the bolt head stripped, and I had to drill it out, and with it being a US bolt and we're in the UK, I could have probably gone and got some anyway, just normal AF bolts, but I decided then to drill it to an M6 and put studs in it and have it as nuts on the end. I can use nylock nuts on the end on the reverse side. So I've modified that. I've put some really long stainless steel threaded bolts in, which I'll be cutting the heads off to make them to the right length, to make them studs. I'll show you that, and I've also show you the modification I've had to do to the under tray to make sure the bottle's got a little bit more space to work with, and I might have to raise the rear ride height a little bit for these particular, for using that particular bottle, but we'll see how low it is, because I do have the valve at the bottom for a number of reasons. Company Wizard of Noz, the use Americans will probably know a bit more about them than the UK. It seems to be the Yanks are really using his stuff at the moment. Yanks, company Yanks, Americans, whatever. Some of them might be Yanks, some of them might not be, but anyway. So what I've been doing is, as I say, no dipstick in it, and upside down, which helps nitrous liquid not running back into the bottle. If it was at the top and you got your lines, then in theory it could run back into the bottle if pressure's dropped, or you could get airlocks in the line where, with the valve being at the bottom and it's got nowhere else to go. Obviously people will argue the fact that there's 1000 psi worth of pressure pushing it through, but it would certainly do. But it's my personal preference. Everyone has their own personal preference. Anyway, I will show you what I have done, and I'll show you what I have started on the milling machine. It's going to be a long process because I've only got a very small hobby Clark milling machine. It's all done by hand, so it's one of them mistakes I suppose can be easily made, and if they do, you have to start again. It's not like a CNC where you can just like change an alteration and then make another one. But anyway, I will show you that, and I'll give, there's a lot of scribblings on the piece of metal, which I know exactly what I'm looking on doing, and brackets, but I will show you as stages go down what I buy. I'll probably take photos of it bit by bit and then put them through on this video of various stages of the milling process. So I'll show you now what I've had to do to the back of the bike and what I've done to the other bracket, and then I'll show you the piece of metal I'm working with. Right, here is where the normal bracket would mount. As you can tell, this was the one which I had to drill out. These are only holes, these are not threaded. It was actually the piece of aluminium which is on the other side, goes on the other side, which was the bit that the stud had got stuck in, but I managed to get the stud out quite easily once I got the bracket off from the swing arm. And what I've done as well, I've opened up the back of the under tray where the tank is. That's the tank, that's the internal fuel pump, partly to give me a little bit more, an inch that way, and it goes, I can get myself a couple of inch clearance here. Now I have married up the bottle towards it and it seems to be going right. I have cut that out in one piece, so I can in theory plastic weld it back in if we find the whole system doesn't work, or just pick up a second under tray on eBay somewhere and start again. So I'll show you this bracket now, and I'll show you how it goes, where it's going to go, and what I've had to do to it. I've had to put coils in it, what they call heli coils, I've known them as. So yeah, I've had to put heli coils in because the threaded bolts, I'm not sure, you correct me, but it could be 1/4 of an inch thread, which is somewhere in between when I tapped it out to 6mm, just run a tap through to 6mm, the 6mm bolts were a bit loose in it. So what I did is drilled it out with a drill, 6.2mm drill that you get with your helicoil kit, and then put helicoils in, which are like little spring coils. I will show you them. I think I've still got them out, and they go inside. And then I put the bolts in with thread lock, with heavy thread lock this time, because I'm making them into studs, and done it that way. So I'll show you this bracket now. This is the offending bracket. As I say, one of them stripped out. So what I did, if it will focus in on it, please. Yeah, there we go. Evil swing arm, you see, so it comes with a swing arm. Now I'll put these two bolts in, and I'm going to cut them off to the right length. It's probably only going to be about where my thumb is, where I end up being cutting off from, where my thumbnail is at the most. And then I can get a nylock nuts on the other side with a washer, possibly even use a spring washer as well, and it certainly won't come off then. Now in there, you see that's drilled out the helicoils further down on that one than in that one, but I've used high tensile, heat resistant thread lock, well, the heat resistant thread lock. Now this is your helicoils. Oh, come on, focus in, please. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I can't press the focus button on the screen. Come on. Ah, there we go. Right, yeah. As you see from them, they're actually made of spring material, and you see the little tail on that one, on my ring, that one. You put that in first, that way round, the other way round, that way round, so it's down on the base, and you've got a special tool that you screw it in to the thread that you've tapped out, because what you do is you drill it out to 6.2mm, then you have a tap supplied, you drill out that tap, which is somewhere in between the 6mm, which this is, the internal thread of this is 6mm. I'm not sure what the external will be, somebody will know out there. And you screw that in, and once you've screwed it into your desired length, I did try on the first one, the reason why that one's quite deep, try and put two back to back, but it didn't work. It wasn't quite deep enough on the drill, and I couldn't drill much further, otherwise it would come out the other side. So one's quite deep, but they are thread locked in. But this is the kit you get with it. This is the drill you get with it, drill bit, which is a 6.2. Then you've got a tap, you tap it out to that size. Then you've got your special tool for using your coil on. Wish the thing would down focus in better. Yeah, and once you've done that, this little thing is you put down where the coil you put in, and you tap off that little tail, because if you don't, your bolt won't go past it. And then what I tend to do is then shake it up and down and round about, and it'll come out. Or if not, you might be able to get a pickup tool. I'm not sure of these. I think these are stainless, so I don't think they will be magnetic. But that's the kit, yeah, and that's what I used to do that bracket. So that bracket, when I change from the big bottle to the 2.5 pound bottle, I will be taking off that bottle off with the bracket. Or I could take the bottle out and then take the bracket off if I wanted to, and then put the other bracket that I'm making on, because the diameter of that is way too small to fit. This is the bottle. This is the bottle. As you can see, it's quite a large bottle, and this is all because of top speed. I want to be able to use a lot of gas from early on, top speed, and I've been working out with the 2.5 pound bottles, if I would only get probably about 4 runs out of one bottle, which is a 1/4 mile. So yeah, you could just about get 1 mile, but that's not at full the amount of gas that I'm available to use. At top speed, I want to be using more, if you know what I mean. Once I've got into the higher gears, I want to use the full amount of gas that's available, you know, the jet that I've got fitted. Where a 1/4 mile I don't use the full amount, I use a percentage of that. So anyway, I'm going to show you this other bracket I have scroll drawings on and started doing a little right bit. Here we go. I've started by, there's a lot of scrollings on there,
which basically this is where the swing arm is, from that line to that line. That's the back of the swing arm. The holes here and the marks there and there are going to be where the bolt holes go. Yeah, and this is going to be tapered, it's going to be arced so that we don't have square edges in case of weak points. This should strengthen it there and there, and that'll go up to that desired height. I could cut it off further because I'm looking potentially putting a thread in there and a stud out, and then another nut to put one bracket on, which is the bracket that goes around the bottle, and another one down here. Now this should be the top, that should be the bottom, and there's a distance where it's like top, sort of almost top and bottom of the bottle, so it's got like good balance between the two. Now I've milled down this bit so far there, you see it, to the desired width I want at the moment. It could change. I'll put the mark there. This mark we'll ignore for now, that one, but I'll put the mark there. So I'll mill down to that. The next bit is to move the piece and mill down to that mark, but what I'm going to do before that, I'm going to measure and make sure the distance on each of that is the same thickness on this one compared to that one. Well, I could do one side, and then the other side has got to be the crucial side where I've got to make sure that the thickness is pretty much the same. Partly more for meat. I might even make it a little bit thicker here at the top end where that bolt's going to go in, so we've got plenty of thread to go in, which is not a problem. I could make the whole thing a bit thicker, but I don't want it massive, if you know what I mean. So anyway, that's what it's looking like at the moment. Obviously, whether you can make head and tail of that, I don't know, but I know I can. And I will get back to you again. Sure.
Hi, as you know from the last part of this video, we were talking about making a bracket for that to fit a 5 pound or a 2 kilo nitrous bottle. Now obviously the original bracket wouldn't fit, and I showed you how I modified the original one because of a bolt snapping, and now we're on metric. But anyway, I've got a piece of billet alley, and started milling. Now I'm no engineer, as you probably already know, but I try to do as much as I can myself. Now all I've got is this little Clark, I think it's an M300 lathe, which milling machine, which is behind me there, as you can see, just on the right. Well, anyway, on the left of me, it's all hand done. It's all hand done, that milling machine. Pretty much the best thing it's at is just making square angle mills and stuff like that. Doing sort of curves and stuff like that is definitely more difficult because you've got two winding handles and you have to try and move it around. So pretty much, if you want to curve in it, you just have to sort of get it on a file afterwards or on a sanding machine. So this bracket is pretty much angular. I will be rounding the edges off so there's no actually sharp edges that dig into me, which will be all done by a file, whether it's a Warden file for the small bits, or whether it's a big file or even a sander. So I'm going to show you what I have particularly done. I've done half of the main cutting. Obviously the finishing off is nowhere near yet. It's took probably about 6 hours. It's manual, it's really manual stuff, and you've got to be so careful. You make an error, you've got to start again. So anyway, I'll show you anyway, and so on and that, and just try and explain what I can, more than anything. As I say, I am no master at any particular anything. I was a car mechanic. Obviously I've adapted stuff to work with bikes and stuff, which is my hobby. And obviously with drag racing and that, you do learn quite a bit from other people and your own experiences and errors you make along the way. So it's something I'd like to get into, a bit of engineering and making. I have got another project that's way in the background. I've got to finish a few of the bikes first after doing these two. I've got a modified frame to fit a different engine in, so I need to make alley brackets, and then I'm torn between
alley mounting brackets, and then mounting in a steel trellis type of frame to the alley frame. But things will change as they go along. It's just thoughts in my head at the moment. It could be a year or so off this, but when it gets started, I will let you know. I really want to get on it and get somewhere, but I'm so busy with other stuff. Anyway, I'll stop yabbering on and I'll show you what I've done so far. There will be pictures of various stages of what I've done here, and they will be somewhere in this video, whether it's in between this talk and the last talk. So I'll show you as I go along. Okay, well, here we go. The drawings have come off a little bit, and this is the bottom half, and that's the top half. It's hard to see the drawings really, obviously. That's what the camera. Now there's these two, which are obviously not perfect lines, but they will be when I put the drill, are the holes for brackets in up. We have a shaft coming up here. All this will be milled away or cut away, and same with the bottom half there and across. And then we'll have bolts going through there. I could probably take a good chunk of that off at the end as well, and maybe at the top, depending where I put them. I've got arrows there at the moment, but what I'll do is I'll bolt it up to the bike and then see where I want to drill those holes, and I'll be putting studs in so we can get these brackets on. So I've done that so far, and the mill is, well, it is what it is. As I say, see, square angular ends. Depending on your milling, fluted mill, whatever they call them, tool. If you've got a longer one with longer cutting thread, I think you can go deeper. Now, unfortunately, mine's about the length of that, so I could have done with a bit deeper, really. But I'm leaving that thickness from there to there as the thickness of the main thingy, and that should hold the bottle on secure enough. I've made it a bit thicker here because I'm going to put a threaded bar in there, and I'm going to put it in as far as I can and thread lock that in. Same with the bottom there. But what I need to do now is get onto the other side, so I'm going to probably clean most of that off, remark it, and then get back on it. And as I say, there's photos as we go along, and all these sharp edges will be filed off, rounded as much as I can, with what patience I have on stuff like that. And this little bit here where I made a mistake, as you can see there, there's a way I've seen it. I've got some really soft alley rods which you can heat it up with a propane torch, and then I can infill that quite easy. And then once I've infilled it, I can sand it off and file it and whatnot. So that's what the plan is. Anyway, I better get off and get back on with it, and switch again when I'm at the next stage.